class. Today is May 22nd, 2022. Today we will be learning about finding areas of trapezoids. I know in the past we have been learning about finding areas of rectangles, trapezoids, triangles, parallelograms, and so on and so forth. I appreciate you guys showing up on time, and for all of those who are on time, let's go ahead, go on a very quick virtual field trip to explore some of the shapes that we have learned in our previous classes and grades. If you are right now part of the class Nearpod, link to the Nearpod is in the chat. You probably can avail the virtual field trip. As you will look around, make sure you will notice and identify the different shapes you have learned in class. Let's go ahead and start our tour. See how the shapes beautify the place, how shapes have been used in the art shown in the ceiling and around the room. You will have 30 seconds to explore the place on your own if you are part of our class Nearpod. The timer starts now. You can also make it big so you can see the different shapes. Go ahead, explore it on your own. See how shapes are so useful in real world. This is just one example of the many. And it's time. Let's go ahead, move on to the warm-up question for today. It is a matching activity. You really need to be part of Class Nearpod to participate. You will have 1 minute to match the shapes to the correct names. And I'm going to show you an example of one. I'm going to pick the easiest. For example, I can match the triangle. Let's get started. Very good, very good. Excellent, Elijah. Excellent, excellent, Alicia. Very good, Kylie. Adeline. Excellent, excellent. And it's time. Let's go ahead and move on. Lesson target. What are we learning today? The goal for today's lesson is to solve problems involving area of a trapezoid using the formula. So go ahead, as I have taught you how to fill out this slide on your own. Today I am, so that I'll know I got it if. You have 2 minutes to fill out these three for yourself and submit your answer once you finish. It's time, let's go ahead. Gage, you completed your slide, go ahead, read for us. I can calculate area of a trapezoid using the formula, so that I can solve real-world problems involving area of a trapezoid. I'll know if I got it if I can fluently calculate area of a trapezoid in a problem using the correct formula. Thank you, Gage. Let's go ahead and move on and see how we can relate to today's topic using this discussion post. Okay, in this discussion post, I have provided you with an image and a question. I will show you the image first. It's a picture of a trapezoid, pretty well labeled trapezoid, dimensions 18 meters, 12 meters, 4 meters, and 5 meters. The question says, probably it is asking you to relate. How do you relate to the question and the topic that we will be talking about today? What do you already know about this topic? So these were actually dimensions of a lawn shaped like a trapezoid. What is the height and the basis of the trapezoid shown in the image? Height and the basis. How did you figure out these are the height and the basis? How did you figure it out? So go ahead. I'm going to allow you guys 2 minutes to answer this discussion post. Also, after answering, make sure you will post at least one comment on your classmates' posts. You can also give guidance to those who are struggling. This marks the end of the 2 minutes. Let's go ahead, read one another's post, and move on to the next slide. We will look at it more closely, just in case if somebody's struggling. Raise your hand if you want to go over the discussion post question. So just in case somebody's struggling, we go and get some light. Kohin, I see that you have raised your hand. Go ahead, go over this question with our classmates. Kohin. Miss Syed, the height of this trapezoid is 4 meters. And how did I figure it out? I saw this right angle and it tells me this is the height. The base of this trapezoid, the two bases of this trapezoid are 18 meters and 12 meters. How did I figure it out? Because these two sides of the trapezoid are parallel, that makes it the basis. Thank you so much, Cohen, for sharing. We really appreciate your participation. Let's move on to the actual question and some notes over finding area of a trapezoid. To find area of a trapezoid, step one, you probably need to know the height, something that you guys were able pretty good at, pretty decently identified height of the trapezoid. It is the distance between the two parallel bases. Then we need to definitely be able to identify the bases. Those are the two parallel sides. We have something called star reference chart as a good resource for this unit. It does have formula for finding area of a trapezoid here. Once you identify the basis and the height, you can use this formula to find area of a trapezoid. Let's see what the formula is saying. The formula says first add the basis, then multiply it by height, then find half of the product, and it will give you the area. Let's practice one question and I will show you step by step how to solve one. Okay, instruct. Here we have the same question from the discussion post that I'm going to go over, and I'm going to show you step by step how to solve for area of this trapezoid. We know in this question the basis, the two parallel sides of the trapezoid, according to the formula as in the reference chart. In this question, reference chart is our big resource. Reference chart is a big resource. First, I'm going to go ahead, identify the formula for my trapezoid, and here it is. Step 1, base 1 plus base 2. I will add base 1, 18, plus base 2, 12. 18 plus 12 gives me 30. Next step, let's go ahead and the formula, it says multiply it by height. I'm going to use a different color. Multiply it by height. In this question, height of the trapezoid is 4. Probably you already learned that in the previous slides. You guys all figured that out. So I'm going to do 30 times 4. And that's not the end of the story. After I find the product, I also have to do half. Look in the formula, it says half. So then I will also find half of that. And ultimately, I will be able to find the area of the trapezoid. Let's go ahead and look at it. So 4 times 30 is 120. Half of 120 is 60. And just notice how they have put the complete unit for area of a trapezoid, meters, and then a squared symbol. So the area of a trapezoid is distributed in the correct units, 60 squared meters. Add the bases, multiply by height, then find half of it. Let's see how many of us actually learned this. As you notice on my slide, I'm also providing you with a grid. So those of you who are struggling with calculation errors, adding, multiplying and stuff, this grid will be very useful to you. On a start test, you'll be provided with this reference chart as well as the grid. Make sure you're using your resources to be successful in my class. Okay, here's the first practice question that we do together. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes. During this 2 minutes, what do I want you to do? First of all, mark one of these colors, red, yellow, and pink. Let me know where you're in the learning process. Number 2, answer these 2 parts of the question. Write the formula to find the area of the given trapezoid. Okay, like how I did. I did sum of the bases, times height, times half. Then step 2, find the area. Then I did computations. I can also be using this grid to do those computations and figure out the answer. Your 2-minute timer starts now. And that marks the end of the 2 minutes. After 1 minute, in fact, of the timer, I will start solving the questions. Okay, I see Blaze, Mason, Micah. You guys haven't started yet. I'm going to go ahead and show you the first step to solving the problem to guide you so that you guys can get started. Very good, Elijah, Ariana, Garen, Levi. I see you guys chose the correct formula for trapezoid. Very good. And I also see that you know the correct label. You were able to label the bases 5 and 9, and you were able to label the height as 6. Excellent, excellent. And if you are still struggling, go ahead, look at my screen, and I'm going to show you the first step to solve this. So the formula says add the bases. Let's add the bases. 5 and 9 gives us 14. Times it by height. Height is 6. Then find half of the answer. And that is 42. Remember, mathematicians are very particular about the units. In area, the units will be in squared units. And here we have used feet. So squared units for feet is squared feet. Squared feet. Here we are. Squared feet. Let's move on to one more guided question before we fly on our own and dive into the independent practice. That will be a kind of a deep work for you guys. Okay, here we are with the second guided practice. Students will do just the same as we did in the previous one. They will be allowed 2 minutes. After 1 minute, I'm going to start solving the question for them and I'm going to guide them. After the two guided practice questions, we have independent practice. The independent practice is more of a group work. The group activity is a choice board that will provide students with 6 questions. They will work in teams of 4. Each member will pick one question to solve for the group. They will solve it step by step and also verbally describe their steps. Once they finish solving, they will ask the group if they agree to the answer or not. If each member of the group agrees to their answer, they will box their answer and sign it. The next group member takes turn. In this way, every member will take turn until the 15 minutes are over. In the last 3 minutes of the group activity, I will share the solutions with them, and then we will all return to the main room. There are also some group norms I would want them to follow: timekeeper, group facilitator, and group spokesperson. Here are the questions I have chosen for the group activity. Here's more of the distinct differentiated instruction of my class. See, for those who have calculation error problems and struggle with calculations, they've been provided a grid to solve the question. The question itself is in the grid, so it's very countable for them. I've provided them with reference chart. I've provided them with response cards like red, yellow, and green color to choose from. In this way, the group themselves, and if the teacher hops into the group, you all know where the student is, and we can guide them and help them accordingly. The second question is very like the ones we practice in class. Third one also. Fourth question, a little bit more enhanced. It has one piece of extra information, that is the 34 feet. Question 5 is another higher order question. It has to do with some reasoning. Question 6 is more of the highest level of questions so that I can target my advanced students and poets and English in their error analysis. At the end of this group work, I also have solutions that I'm going to share with them. And here is the solutions to them. Here are the solutions to the questions. Then at the end of this group activity, I also have time to climb activity. And let me share that. Time to climb activity is probably like a quiz, but kind of more fun way of a quiz, where kids are actually competing. And it's like a mountain, and the ones who get it correct are climbing faster than the others. And these are my questions for time to climb. Here's a picture. What is the height of the trapezoid shown? So hitting more of the concepts than calculations, so I would see how many are able to get the main gist of the lesson so that I can plan the next lesson accordingly. What are the bases of this trapezoid? Definitely the kids need to know the height and the basis so that they're able to find the area of this particular trapezoid. Then they also have the 4 different answer choices for the formula that will be used to find area of the trapezoid, and I'm going to see if the kids are able to identify that. This question has been taken straight from STAR test. Following this one, I definitely do have this in this slide so that it is a teachable slide after the quiz if need be. Also, I have embedded a video in this lesson so that I can share this lesson with the students in class announcements, and the kids can review what we went over in class. And if need be, they feel like they need more tutorials, they can watch this video on their own and be prepared, better prepared for class for the next day. Thank you so much for inviting me for this interview.